These times, if you don't have something memorized and you don't understand it and can repeat it back like what I just did there, realize that it's just a matter of repetition. A lot of kids, especially when it's easier, first level, first elementary to middle school stuff, you can learn stuff one or two times, or you see it, your teacher shows you, and you get it really quick. And you think that that's supposed to be the process. Learning doesn't happen that fast for everybody, and it doesn't always happen that fast, especially as you go into harder levels. Okay, I like to say it's like building a city on a mountain. You got to build roads, you got to build houses, and that takes time. Okay, and so you might say, "Oh yeah, I haven't seen that one thing that Eric just showed me. I haven't seen that in a while. I should know that, but I haven't seen it in a while." Well, what you want to do right now is maybe grab one of the extra pieces of paper, or grab a post-it, or grab a note card and write it down somewhere so that you look at it a few more times this week. And especially when those words come up, now you'll be thinking what exactly it is that you need. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
First, you got to make sure you sleep well the night before. Make sure you get enough rest.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make sure you eat. Now, what are some foods? Everybody's body is different, but what are some foods that you know make your body work better than usual? I know if I eat a bunch of if I grab 3 scoops of sugar and shovel them into my mouth in the morning, do you think I'm going to feel great that day, that morning?
Yeah.
No. For me, I know I got to have my coffee. If I don't have my coffee, the rest of my day is going to be a little bit harder to deal with, okay?
Yeah.
But outside of my coffee, what do I usually do? I usually grab a banana because that's the easiest for me to eat, easiest for me to grab and go with, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if this was a day of a test, I might have 2 bananas, or I might grab an energy or a power bar or something like that, or some sort of other snack with some sort of grains or some sort of cereal in it that gives me something extra. Or if it were a day of test, I'll grab a banana, grab an apple, and an orange, right? Make sure I drink some milk in the morning as well if that's something that I like, right? So make your adjustments. What is your morning routine? I actually want you to take a moment on the corner of something or corner of your work. This is supposed to be something that you start to do, because think of this, you're going to go to college. You think you're going to go through college without taking a single test? Oh no. So do you think you should have a routine for what you need to do the night before a test, the morning of a test, etc.? Yeah. What was my routine? Night before the test, or the couple nights before the test, study guide, study guide. What I would do is I'd take my notes, rewrite them onto another page that I had memorized, or the stuff I didn't have memorized, then rewrite that onto a note card, and that note card might become a post-it note. So then a post-it note could remind me of what's on the index card, could remind me of what's on my notes, could remind me of on what was on the lecture. And in doing so, that post-it note, it's funny because during the school year, some of my tests I didn't get to my post-it note. Some of them were index cards. Some of them were still just a big piece of paper of my study guide. But what I would still do is I'd grab, a binder, or grab a laminated sheet, and I'd make sure I put it away somehow so that I could use it and study, and that it was a little more special than my other pieces of paper. I might grab some thicker paper or some colored paper, or draw something on the side to make it mine, right? And if you actually notice, these are now my study guides that I actually use to help teach with my students, okay? But what's your process? What do you do? Before your test, do you have a packet of everything that you need to review? Let's say I have 3 tests today. I've got my math packet, my science packet, and my reading packet, and before each of my tests I can review them? Or do you just have everything left at home in a binder and you don't bring it to school? What do you do? Write these things down for yourself. Show me what your process is, and then we can talk about how we can improve it. Okay, how to make it better. That I used to do that would help out or boost my ability when it came to school, when it came to my tests, okay? Specifically tests. What I like to bring up is that for athletes, they always have a routine. Baseball players need to make sure that they do a certain amount of swings before they go to bat, right? Tap the plate with their bat a certain amount of times. Maybe in basketball, before a shot, they want to dribble a certain amount of times before their free throw, or spin the ball in their hands, or shake their shoulders out to loosen up some muscles, right? So what were some things in terms of schoolwork that allows you to do better, all right? The first thing, obviously, we talked about was sleep, okay? So if you have issues with sleep and stuff like that, that's another conversation we can have, because there's other things that we need to deal with when it comes to like our cell phones and the light in our room makes a difference with how well we sleep. Okay, but let's assume that you got 7 to 8 hours of solid, good, restful sleep. Okay, what's the next step? Well, when you wake up, do you usually take a shower? Do you usually do your morning hygiene routine? I know that if I went into my test and I didn't brush my teeth that morning, I actually would feel a little bit different, like a little dirtier and like groggy, and like probably wouldn't perform as well as I would and want to, right? If you didn't do your hair in the morning, or let's say, for example, you usually wear, let's say I notice you have a necklace on. I have a necklace I never take off. If I went into my test and I didn't have my necklace on, I would feel almost naked. I'd feel as if something's missing if I don't have my watch on, kind of thing that I can check my time. So what are your essentials? What are the things that you have to have for you to feel complete? Write those things down right now. What are some routines? Hygiene is one. Yeah. Eatings is the next one. So if you don't have your 2 eggs in the morning, right? Well, I don't know what your breakfast is, but on test day, I usually say add a little more. If you usually eat, let's say, 100 units of something, right? Let's say you see 100 grams of cereal, 100 grams of this food, go for 150 instead. Eat 50% more so you have a little more energy. For example, is you usually get some sort of break at like 10 to 10:30 at school. You don't necessarily get that during a lot of these tests, the bigger tests like the AP ones as well. You got to make sure you have your energy. Have you ever gone and done like sport without eating enough before? Do you feel good? Oh my God, I've done that before. Yeah, you feel like crap. Your body starts to break down. You sweat more than you need to. Okay? That's the same with this test. Education and academics takes brain power. It takes a lot of energy that you don't sweat running cardiovascular wise, but you still expend all that energy in your mind, right? So go ahead, write down what the food is, what the things you wear are, as well as, right, your clothing, stuff like that. Go ahead and start with those. Come on in.